set here, but yeah, it's gonna be a hard one, that's for sure.
Questionable. Let's see which map we are going to be playing on here. Again, 7-map pool, 6 out in the ban. And Villa, a very technical one that SCARZ picked to take FAV on very quickly. Our lobby is ready. Hap, do you agree with this decision? Dan.
I think Villa is the more technical map, so if they're not confident on their gun skill, this is the right choice.
Fluke?
Villa has been, it was the opener for phase 1 and they 7-4'd it before. Bold, let's see what happens. This was the exact kind of setup at the beginning of the first phase.
All right, thank you so much, my king and queen. May we just tie this over and send it over to our casters. Des and Jessica, please enjoy, my dear brother and sister.
Oh, you're muted. Oh. Go again, big bro.
I was looking, I was like, was it vMix? Was it Discord? Was it my mixer? Was it my mic? There's too many options to count through. I said there, he said, dear brother and sister, as if he's also part of the family.
Yeah, look, I think Milosh is a distant relative, and what I was
He's the crazy uncle who turns up once a year and brings you exotic, crazy gifts and cool food.
Which isn't, to be fair, that's probably not a bad thing, let's be honest. But I think the biggest thing to point out here in this particular matchup, it's a rematch. We've got to point that out. I really want it known that this is a big old rematch here. I think Fluke touched on it as well. And when you go to a rematch on the same map and the same team, you've got to ask yourself, do they have what it takes now to come in? And this was in stage 2. They had this rematch, by the way, like where they had this particular. And FAV won 7-4. So maybe SCARZ are thinking, you know what, we made a few mistakes. We've worked on it now. We're pretty confident going into this map. We can rectify those mistakes. And if you're FAV, either you perfect your strategies and you do them well, or you turn around and you change everything up now that you're replaying Villa.
It's the fact that it was really wasn't all that long ago. It was literally, what, 2.5 weeks ago they played this map against each other? You'd normally look around and say, yeah, exactly. 2.5 weeks ago. Really wasn't all that long back. So probably quite fresh in the minds of the things that went wrong in that game. Admittedly had quite a bit of other stuff to worry about during that. And looking back over my Playday notes, SCARZ found 4 rounds. And my notes of this game quite simply were, yes, there were 4 rounds. It really should have been 2. Rounds 3 and 4 that were won by SCARZ when they were on the defense came down to 11, shock horror, walking through and finding 3Ks and 4Ks. Yeah. The reliance on individual players to do work is fine, it's admirable, but not something you can rely on as a team. FAV have only got stronger as the stages progressed. This today, Jess, for me at least, could be a bit of a cakewalk for FAV.
Oh, if we look at these bans, if we compare them at least to the last time they matched up, FAV banned both Nomad and Clash. This time they're going to get rid of both of the shields, which is fair enough, very closely aligned, but they don't want to deal with the shield on attack as well. SCARZ, they usually ban Thatcher and Wamai, and they're going to repeat that again. There we go. So it's almost picture perfect from last time. Both of these teams identifying strengths and weaknesses. For SCARZ, they just want to go in and have a fresh slate with the same bans. Fair enough. They won't have the Monty to sort of lean on as a crutch, which is fine. And now Revy's been put back into the team. I think maybe FAV are wondering whether or not Revy's role is to just go back to that shield support main and assist his team that way. I actually think Revy's grown as a player exponentially since stage 1. So he's got a lot more.
We hyped him up last game, remember? We brought up his replay from round number 1 where he had an incredible plant play with a triple kill off the back of it as well. I think it was in the end of the round, the 1v1 post plant. Showed that he does still have that old trigger finger. It was probably about a year and a half ago, so I think it told me, where he retired from being a player and moved to being a strategic coach. But is still plenty capable of stacking up against some of the best. But consistency is what we are looking for from SCARZ. They've shown on odd days that they can play incredibly well and get brilliant results, but as Hap alluded to, they are currently sat in dead last place here in APAC, and this is going to be a grind against one of the most informed teams too. Like I say, it could be a grind, but thank God at the very least they start on defense.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise for some teams sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes they get into their first half, they're meant to win their defensive rounds, and they absolutely just drop the ball. Whether or not it's, you know, some teams need a couple of rounds to warm up to their opponent, and that's why some teams even opt to go to their offside to start off with, because they know it might take them a little bit to warm up to their opponents. However you look at it, SCARZ have to come in really punching here. I mean, you look at the last time they squared up, how many defensive wins did they manage to get? I think they managed to get 3 in a row. So bodes pretty well for them that they're okay at defense.
And 2 of those off 11, don't forget as well, doing the wonders for them.
Right. So can't be those heroes plays. Yeah, can't sort of rely on those hero plays. For FAV, they've been just warming up as each game goes by. So I think that's probably a big scare point here for SCARZ.
What I do want to touch on is the amount of hard breach that FAV are bringing along here. It screams to me that they absolutely want some walls open. Whether they're looking into study, whether they're looking at vault wall on 90, they don't want to go for the standard push of going into aviator through the northern door and looking to go from a plan from there. The one thing I worry about is without an IQ on side, you are still dealing with cameras out of the likes of Valkyrie. So with that plus the Maestro, that's quite a lot of information sat on the side of SCARZ that they need to pay respect to.
Yeah, I'm just sort of trying to quantify how many breachables do they have. I mean, soft breach, they've got the Ash, they've got 2 grenades on the Mav, they've got the impacts of the Zofia. So for the most part, they've got enough of what they need. It's when you lose 1 or 2 of those plays that things get a bit dicey really quickly. I do worry about those Valkyrie cams, like you said, but the big thing for me will be getting rid of those evil eyes. Yes, that particular top red and landing cam there will actually be quite dangerous, especially for... who is on the Zofia right now? It's Typon. So he'll need to find that. But if he doesn't, I think they're going to... You naturally know where people are pushing anyway. I think that's the thing about Villa is that you can hear people at your door. The moment they shoot, things are all done for you. And yikes! A little bit of missed shots there. Surely Revy doesn't live after this. But Shin decides to rotate completely. He's going to go to Pantry. He'll want to push up from there. But Revy should not have survived that.
He got caught with his pants down well and truly. He was so focused on what was going on up in Astro, just had zero idea that someone would come rotating behind him into red and almost put him in the ground. It's kind of a wonder that he's walked away, as you say. At the very least, he is alive, but without that C4. So his job here, I imagine, is going to be the expendable man. Waste as much time as you can. Chances are you are not getting back to site safely, and Typon will confirm that with a shot onto him. Unfortunate, but that's a strategic coach down and out of this round. Best thing is now he can get on those cams and start guiding people. That's what a coach is good for.
Well, he also wasted a heck of a lot of time. Let's not forget they're down to 30 seconds now. And, well, if you're FAV, you better speed things well on up. Or when you collapse on a side, it better be the best collapse you've ever seen. Because Nosferato's still got 3 smoke babes in pocket. And now they're kicking off these kills back and forth. But number 2 says, I can do it. And he might be able to do it all. But so can Demic, I think, here on the Elder.
Don't worry about the timing here. You've got Chloroform rotating out to one side, trying to spray down the outer player, but doesn't know exactly where he is. He's going to push his way, or at least attempt through the rotation. A double peek comes in here. Oh my god, number 2 knew where he was, but there's a massive flank coming out from Colbro, who had stepped his way off site, comes in through the aviator door with a double spray down. A little bit too easy there. Good closing execute potentially coming out of FAV. They just missed and forgot about one player. And as we know, when you're coming down to those closing seconds, a single mistake is all it takes for the whole round to slip away.
The time management there, I dare to say that Revy probably really pushed that to its limits by being able to survive somehow, some way during that engagement over towards Piano Red Hallway. I thought to myself, no, surely 1 HP in a dream. It was actually 5 HP in total. And the time it took for them to be able to collect themselves, rotate all the way downstairs, up through Pantry, they had to pinch him, they had to work out where he was. I mean... that was about, let's say in total, probably even 30 to 40 seconds of their time that they had to waste there on Revy. So good job on him, playing passive as well to draw out as much time as he could before he did die. That may have won them the round, and had they been given a little bit more time, the plant may have also gone down behind Vault there, as you saw them preparing to do. So not bad there from SCARZ. They net the first round, in a round I think that not a lot of people thought they probably would get here against FAV.
And then mindfulness as well to keep Colbro off site and not stick both players together so they don't get collapsed on at the same moment. Also pretty big brain. So despite the 3K coming out from number 2, good play from SCARZ. Round number 1 in the bag. Let's see how many more we can find in this half. Round number 2, I believe, is heading downstairs. So we'll see how this sets up. Normally a lot of vertical play is the name of the game, although a couple of teams have taken to sweeping up from the south on the ground floor and using that as their attacking angle and worrying less about those vertical angles.
I do really enjoy top floor holds of this particular site. And the reason I enjoy it is because when I think of a team who attacks onto this site, I think of a team that takes really strong vertical control, or a defensive team that counters that by having their own vertical control. So either or, I like to see a team who really focuses on that verticality, whether it's on attack or defense, but I want to see either team doing it here. And that team that really excels at doing that, I think will win the round.
That's what we're seeing the Oryx again, and it feels almost customary on Villa to talk about it every single time we see an Oryx. It's the first time in LATAM we saw this operator getting picked up. We saw a really cool rotate coming in by the Oryx, moving down south below Study, jumping up through the hatch and coming in with a massive flank onto the trophy doorway, which then netted 2 kills and won the round. That's always been the idyllic nature of Oryx that I think everyone has really wanted to see. It's just never really comes to light because teams have something called flank drones. They can sit and watch things with a Nomad if they want to. There's just so many ways of countering what he does that it is literally that. It is a fantasy play for him, and occasionally he gets to realize it.
This is a hyper-aggressive angle for an operator with a not very good of a weapon to be challenging that. They've also been able to spot out 2 players. 1, and surely 2, he's so low, and yes, he does go into DBNO, and that library hold... It's one. Oh, he actually was able to drop the hatch. They know this, though. They can follow the blood trail. There you go. It's like little Red Riding Hood there for them. And a lot of kills going around the map left, right, and center. I said that the vertical control would be key, but what SCARZ have failed to understand is that you can't do both. You can't do a library hold, and you also can't simultaneously do a top hold. You are too spread thin, and guess what? FAV might walk away with it flawless. They won't, but it's going to be damn well close.
Oh, the ultimate spoiler is being droned out at his feet as well. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. He's being flashed. Anything else you want to throw in there, boys? Apparently a frag grenade was the answer from number 2. Nosferatu very much boxed in there and cooked like a chicken on feast day. I got to ask, by the way, with the blood trail going down, you were like, oh, it's like Red Riding Hood. I was like, what version of Red Riding Hood have you been reading?
Look, you know when she follows the trail and... No? Okay.
The blood trail?
No, it's not a blood trail, but it's an analogy of sorts.
I was going to say, like, you could have gone for something far more innocent, like, I don't know, Hansel and Gretel following the breadcrumbs and that, rather than, you know, following a trail of blood. And I was like, whoa. Yeah.
That would have been a better one.
I thought you were going a little dark on me, and I was like, man.
Yeah, there are different versions of Red Riding Hood. Obviously, there's the OG one, but there are different versions where it is a lot darker.
By which you mean the kids' version and the adult version.
Correct. Talking of the adult version, 1-to-1 here, and all of these adults on the server right now.
That was the worst segue I've ever heard.
I know.
Okay, carry on.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep trying different segues until I can perfect them.
I'll tell you what, can I give you a rating for every segue that you do?
Yes.
Right. Just so you know how my out of 10 scoring works, 5 out of 10 is like your average mark. It's like what I expect of normal people. So if I give you a low score, it's only because it's below average. Just so you know.
Average is 5 as per the usual scoring method of 0 to 10.
People People get very upset when you say, oh, 7 out of 10, that means it's not good. No, 7 out of 10 does mean it's good. It really bothers me when people get this wrong. 7 out of 10 still means something is better than average, therefore don't get upset about it. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Damn, you're a stickler for the specifics there. All
right, does my head in, man. You'll see, right? Let's do it. That's the way moving forward. That's our little thing now, me rating your segues. Segue, Jess, go.
I can't wait. No, I can't.
That's a 1 out of 10.
I just can't. Okay, no. Back into this particular matchup. Round 3 here for both of these teams. And FAV hoping that last, almost flawless round will net them yet another momentous win. I want to see here from the defenders. A big thing is that ensuring that they hold off on their hold. They were spread thin last round, and Afro says the site is all mine now. And he just zooms on in, and then he bails on out. And I can't believe he even got away with his life after that. What a sneaky entry and a sneaky exit.
Interesting to note as well, they're now bringing the Jackal along for Afro. Now, they have those 2 sets of smokes coming out, which can pay absolute dividends when it comes round to site executes. Part of me thinks it's to try and deal with those creepy crawlers around the map. One of those creepy crawlers being named Demic. And sadly, he is going to shut down that Roma Hunter. So that's the mute. Capitalizing on a big kill. 2 smokes are gone. The Roma hunting capability has been removed. So I'm hoping here that cold brew. It's not cold brew coffee, guys. It's cold brew. I've never tried it. I'm told how good it is. This is how we derail a cast terrifically, Jess. Please be quiet.
Go ahead.
It's about 11 and cold brew that I'm seeing what damage they can do. You still got those couple of members on the side of FAV hanging on the upstairs. So playing for those angles. We'll talk about cold brew coffee because I do want your rating and approval on it. Diffuser's down upstairs, so it's more trying to deal with what's going on below by the looks of it. Number 2 knows what's going on, but they need to get the collapse in. I love, by the way, how this isn't even the site, yet there's a massive scrap going in. 11 just like one taps type on a number 2, like a robot. No one can do a thing about that. And they're going to find another down on the upstairs. 3 kills coming out of nowhere for SCARZ, it seems. This round feels like it can pretty much be done and dusted here, Jess.
What a roller coaster ride. FAV feel like they're on top one round. The next round, they just feel like they're absolutely bottoming out. It's something that you can't really quantify for these teams, I think, because you're trying your best to be able to analyze it. An attacking team like FAV, who are usually extraordinarily explosive. Go back to the last game. You could jump on the YouTube for Revo 6 Esports and you can watch their last game. Compare their attacks on that game to this game. It feels like we're watching a completely different FAV.
But it's also dealing with, we always say give teams a couple, maybe 2 or 3 rounds to warm into a game to really get the feel for what's going on the other side. But right now they are walking into every line coming out for the side of SCARZ. Chloroform finds a couple in this round, but Stemic to step round and close things out as he started them. He killed Afro at the start and closed things out with that closing kill. SCARZ find their second round on the defense of Villa. This is much more convincing than what we saw on the 22nd of September, Jess.
You know, since SCARZ has gone through multiple iterations now, they've had to, they had to get Revi in to begin with when they first started stage 1, and we were talking about how that might have crippled the team to have a coach in and not a full lineup that they wanted. Then they got a full lineup, and then that person had to go to mandatory military trade, so they brought Revi back in. They've got, obviously Nosferatu here, Cold Bro and stuff, but it's just like all of these changes going on for SCARZ. It's kind of nice that I can sit here and look at this roster now and go, you know what? All of that success that they've had with the time and to train and whether it's roster change or not, they look like a team who deserves to be at APAC North. Now I can finally say that. When they began, I really put them on par with Electrify, who really were starting things off. And now I actually put quite a bit of distance between those two teams. So I'm happy for SCARZ. I know that there's so much more they can do. I know that it's doom and gloom from Hap's mouth for SCARZ. But I think we've really got to give a shout out to the improvement that they've made, and I have no doubt they'll be back.
I feel the same. And speaking to one of their coaches, Hybrid, as well, he said, back in stage 1, we were very, very unlucky. We were meant to be in a gaming house together. We were meant to be spending time boot camping. And then, unfortunately, COVID stopped a lot of things happening for us, including having all the players together. So these things happen. Admittedly, they aren't the only team that's had to deal with those problems, but they have had a lot of bad luck leading into this. Now with the changes coming in, with Canos, of course, going off to join the army, there's just so many things that weigh into this factor for them that it is making life tough. But at the end of the day, the standings don't care about your personal circumstance. They care far more around the actual number position that you hold. And ultimately, if you still finish in 12th, well, relegation abound, you may likely be. Let's see how FAV do in this round. 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. So just getting started here. Starting off with a big square off towards the left, out towards the right, and up towards the north. So full coverage of the top side is pretty much standard when taking this site. Some teams like to keep it very, very straight and narrow, just looking straight in from study to start busting those walls open in towards the sites. Others like to make sure there's no roamers up towards the north who can give them a headache later into the round. Whereas FAV here are going for that later method. Going to take you a little bit more time, and saying that, they've actually got pretty far forward very, very quickly here, and already starting to stare inside of Aviator.
Yeah, they've made really good work on their time management here on the attack. I think for FAV, the big thing for them is they're kind of, if I was them, I'd be annoyed. I'd be annoyed that I'm a team that works really well on attack, especially considering last game, and you just aren't able to put those rounds on the board against a team that they probably think they quite rightfully should be better than. So I'm sure that's triggering a little bit for them to go, we're losing to players that are doing easy lines of sights on us. Why are we giving up frags? Why are we doing this? And that's a really tough thing when you're talking about these players. Like, see there, for example, SCARZ have players who turn their back, and that should have been an easy kill. Revi before in the other round, that should have been an easy kill. They're messing things up, I think, that they shouldn't be. And so we'll give them those few rounds buffer, but from here on out, they've got to be putting things on the board to seem convincing.
I think that was a lot of blind fire coming in from the study window as well, knowing that 11 was in the area, but not being quite sure of where, and was fortunate to get away with his life in the end. Well, I say fortunate, it's still on 75 HP. I guess a headshot, if he was looking towards that, you'd be saying it was a very different story, and it would be unlucky to lose his life maybe there. But either way, still trying to find the opening in this. Revi, once again, our resident coach steps in, but immediately gets traded out by number 2, who once again has been having a really solid game here. 6 kills inside 3 rounds.
Who was the flank watcher? Sometimes you'll have teams who throw a drone out and they're like, who's watching the flank? Oh, there's a drone on it. Yeah, but if no one's watching the drone, then the flank's not covered, no matter what the drone does, unless it's a transformer. It really can't do anything. And, ooh, Fav, that's the explosiveness we expect. Unfortunate little team killed there, but it's left up to the 2 support players of SCARZ. 15 seconds left. This looks like that round in again. It's almost like a repeat here, Des.
Absolutely, they're coming into a shotgun as well. This is a dream scenario for the Nosferatu, who still has 2 of those smokes in the back pocket, but will get the chance to use none as he is traded out. Afro finds one. Demic left all by himself, and they might be able to get away with this one. Chloro is down, and Demic must know this. All he's got to do is try and peek in. A grenade might be enough, but they're going for the wrong spot. Up he steps and catches him. Down goes Afro, but obviously he doesn't know. He has no idea there is still 1 player left, and he's down, but we'll walk around the corner in just a second, and we'll then realize there he is. Well played by Demic to win out a 1 versus 2 in the post plan.
Demic, you absolute god. What game sense?
Demic god, dare we say?
Yeah, honestly, that was really well played from him. He was obviously identified the fact that he still had utility in his pocket. And this goes for both attackers and defenders in all regions. I've seen players struggle to understand that they need to use their gadgets in their pocket, their secondaries, whatever they've got left over can always be useful. In the last, post-execute there, and you're the last defensive player alive, why not throw out your impacts? What else are you going to use them for? And that was such a smart play. That was really well done from Demic there. And he's had a bit of success on defense here on the mute before. He was hitting some beautiful shots as well. So I think this is why we bring him up in our head-to-head on the analyst desk quite a lot, because he seems to be that impact player consistently.
Quite an explosive fight coming through in a bar, and we've all seen the videos of chairs being thrown and bottles being smashed around heads, but never quite impact grenades being thrown across to win a round for a team. Either way, that's SCARZ with 3 defensive rounds. This is looking good for them, Jess, and considering that everyone had concerns around them, shall we say, coming into this game, that we wouldn't see them delivering to the same level that you expect of a team that wants to compete here in APAC. I'd say today, now they've had a bit of time to play with Revy, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
It's just nice to see such a cohesive SCARZ. I know I'm sounding like I'm shilling, but I mean, if you've been following this team the same way we have, it's such a transformation. It's really nice to see. Same with FAV. We also have to point out on their side that the improvements week after week after week are very noticeable. They're very visible. So I think for both of these teams, to pit them together head to head is actually kind of nice, because it shows us which one of these teams are keeping up with the improvements over the other. And when you rematch on the same map, it shows you who's got the better grit here between them. And at the moment in this first half, it's SCARZ. But we've seen time and time again, you go to the second half and things flip like a light switch.
So often it can happen, and it's FAV you're coming up against. I always commend them for their attacking prowess in a good number of games. This one, a little less so. It's not like they've completely messed it up every single time. It has come down to a couple of close rounds, but ultimately it's still SCARZ that come away with the points. And history will only remember the official scoreline rather than how well you played in any given rounds or how close it was. There's an old friend used to say to me, we used to play games together, and always be like, oh, but I nearly killed him. He'd always go, yeah, but you didn't though, did you? And I was just like, Ben, shut up. But it's very, very true. Ultimately, if they're on 1 HP or 100, if you didn't kill them, you're still doing your team a disservice and not getting you over the finish line.
Where's the drone? Not the grenade, the drone. Throw the drone, not the grenade. Oh my god. Grenades are like a dime a dozen in this game. And to just throw it randomly in the direction of where you got shot is just not the play. I think FAV are stressed at this point. I will say that I think they're stressed because there's no way, one, you enter, Shin enters, and all he does is he just decides to pop a finger charge and no drone. Like, you can't enter that way. You can't enter solo. You don't drone your opponents. You just assume that you can face check everything. I actually hope for SCARZ they keep clapping them if they keep making those kind of mistakes, because if you face check things, that's what you deserve.
Taking down notes here for my plat games at some point to not go throwing grenades randomly, but throwing C4s might work out a little bit better, and SCARZ have absolutely clapped them once again, Jess. Shin's in a spot where pretty much he'll be stuck into a 1 versus 5 if this doesn't work out any better, but number 2 goes, don't worry, bro, I'm your number 2. There are 2 of us remaining. We can do this together through the power of friendship, love, and teamwork. And then he disappears, the comms goes silent, and number 2 realizes he is left alone like the end to a terrible fantasy novel. A double kill comes out for number 2, but he's got to find 3 more in this round if they're actually going to be able to get a point on the board. Fair to say, it looks like it's going to be another SCARZ round, taking them up to 4-on-1, which would be mighty impressive, given again how we forecast this game would go for them. Holding a bit of time here, and I'm thinking part of this might be even down to, look, quick conversation for the team. This round might be a waste one to go by, but at least if we have a conversation, we know what needs to get fixed for next round, because from somewhere, we have got to try and find another round in this half.
That was probably one of the messiest FAV attacks I'd seen in a while. They did manage, we do have to say that whilst we were watching Shin on the other side of the map, they were opening up the pantry, they were getting the plant down, but I felt like I was watching 2 completely different games at once. I was watching the entries on the other side, and then I was watching support players playing their own game over on site. That's not a team. That's a couple of duos trying to pull a few things together and hope that it plays out. That's not how it works. If you want to get the plant down, you need the support of your teammates, not a dude chilling out in the basement going, yeah, good luck.
I'll sit down here, guys. I'm just going to pull the adrenal surge and hope you guys do well up there. Woo, I'm rooting for you. It's about as far as the impact went and a couple of wasted grenades. It's interesting how he got from top floor, by the way, all the way downstairs without really ever getting anywhere near the site.
He was on an adventure.
The man's writing his own fairy tale. Number 2 had his own he was trying to live that turned into more of a nightmare. I have no idea what the thinker was writing. I don't know. Give him some crayons and hope for the best.
Hey, all of those fairy tales actually probably started off as a nightmare, let's be frank.
Fairy tales are often very dark, you know. Have you ever realised? Everyone's like, oh, it's a lovely story that all has a moral to it. I'm like, yeah, but there's always some really messed up bad guy who does really horrible things to people.
Is that SCARZ in this case?
No, SCARZ are on the anime redemption arc. They're in last place. This is the start of season 2.
I love that.
It's the start of phase 2 technically, and season 2 started a long time ago, but yeah. We're at that point now where they've had the kind of introduction, you realise things have really dire, you think the protagonist is going to die, it's all going to go wrong, and then they start the recovery after they make one crucial discovery, and that discovery was Revy, who, as we touched on earlier on, has been having a pretty good game so far.
I'm going to rank your segue there. That was a fantastic one. Not because I'm a bit of a weeb, but just because, like, that's an 8
You've got to
out
give
of
it
10.
an out of 10, though. This is how we're going to do this from now on. 8
out of 10. 8. That was an 8.
That's good.
That was
okay,
a banger.
solid.
Speaking of solid, they want only a portion of that solid wall opened up just to give them a line of sight. Yeah, rate me. Rate my segue. Let's go. Let's go. Is it good?
I'll give it a 6.
Oh, just above average. I'll keep working on it, ladies and gentlemen.
You're above average, Jess. That's something to celebrate. This is what I mean. People get so upset, like 6 out of 10. That's a horrible score. No, it's a great score. Stop it.
I got you. I got you. Speaking of, this is the last attacking round here for FAV. This is their last chance to show me that they aren't absolutely, excuse my French, shitting the bed here on Villa on attack. Because that's what it feels like.
She said a swear word, it.
And to think you were the bigger brother.
I'm telling.
Do it.
You're getting grounded.
I'm the youngest of the family. Everyone knows that nothing happens to the younger one.
True. Everyone thinks you get bullied all the time, when it's absolutely not. You just like causing trouble. As Colbro likes to do his C4s, almost catching 2, but Chloroform and Typon hiding just inside the closet, out the way of Master Bedroom, will keep themselves in one piece. I think he takes a couple of shots for his trouble as well, as he is down to about 66% HP. And there we go, as Chloroform finally finding an opening kill for his team here, with a kill onto Colbro off the back of a frag grenade. And with the bandit removed, the C4 had already gone. It's not the end of the world, but now you can't place down or move any of those bandit charges.
Oh man, he's a real bandit tricker. He really gave it his all there, and he actually laid down his life for the trouble. So, as you said, no more bandit charges, and yeah, I salute him as well. I'm a big bandit tricker myself, and now I'm wondering whether or not FAV have the positioning here to be able to get a plant off. Those walls are open, 2 smokes in pocket. They actually don't have a left-hand side line of sight, so that's actually limiting them quite a bit. And I think they just tried to throw a smoke through an ADS. Only one got through, and it doesn't matter. Typon will just absolutely run through, kill. He could probably plant as well, and yes, he will.
I like how over time they've gone from playing more, like less hard breaches to stepping it down to playing a more utility-based composition here, and it seems to have helped them out. Those frag grenades doing a lot of work for them in the one. Down to Demet to try and clutch this all by himself, playing on the MP5K with the Smute as well. Not everyone likes playing with that shotgun, of course. Playing at range, knows that he's got so much to do here. 30 seconds to go. You got about 20 seconds left, my man, to get these 3 kills and stick the defuse. Something tells me that's not going to happen, as I believe there is a member of FAV playing on the downstairs. We'll find another head at the same time. He gets concussed out by the Zofia. But as said, I think that time is out and done here. No chance he can win this one. That does at least give FAV something. It gives them the second round they've been looking for. But SCARZ are in a great position with how they've currently been playing going into the second half, Jess.
A good use of that Zofia concussion. Like I said, use your utility and use it wisely, and that's exactly what happens from below. Knocks him straight off the defuse, and well, he wasn't able to get back onto it before the 7-second mark, but it wouldn't have mattered. Chloroform was waiting in the wings, and as a result, that's a round in the hands of FAV. A much more convincing one, but now the sides switch. And when the sides switch, something weird happens in APAC, especially in today's Playday. It's almost as if teams go, all right, we've stuffed up our first half, we get into the second half, and we just ignite ourselves into something freakishly different.
It's always the magical transform you get at the half for some teams where it is a total change in play style. And for FAV as a team that I've always commended as being excellent at attacking, I did think we'd see a little bit more coordination coming out of them. You mentioned it actually at one point in that half, and it really rung true for me because I remember seeing it back in one of the earlier days of the season. We saw FAV coming up against, I believe, Xavier, because I remember going, oh, FAV versus Zav, what the hell is this? It was on Theme Park. There was basically always a 3v3 taking place off-site around shields inside a cache when we were defending Armory and Throne, for example. And then 2 players for either team that were either playing on site or looking to get in through maintenance to go for a plan. It was like there were 2 very different games of Siege being played at the same time. It was very peculiar. Yeah. And in that half, it did feel like we'd gone back to see the old form of FAV at points. Well played by SCARZ, though. Let's not take it away from them. That was absolutely a well-played half by them. Let's see how they can continue into the second half, and maybe if that frazzlement that FAV felt in the first half carries across to the second, and let SCARZ get the one up on them and take a couple of rounds away. Do you know what that table is, by the way?
It's oh, I know the word. We had one in the army.
It's an Ubisoft game.
Oh, but it's actually a. You're talking about what it is. It's an Ubisoft game. Far Cry.
No.
No? Not Far Cry 3?
How dare you? No. No.
Sorry, I can barely... It's a bit pixelated.
It's a strategy game called Ruse.
Oh, I have not played.
It's quite interesting. I'm allowed to talk about other games that belong to Ubisoft, and that's what I love about Ubisoft. They have many games that we get to reference all the time. Oh, yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Valhalla comes out
Far
soon.
Cry.
Oh,
yeah.
my God, let's go.
Hyper Escape.
Ooh, baby.
We can shit all that stuff. It's great. There's the Assassin's Creed reference. Thank you very much, Medics.
Thank you, Medics. We love you. Our observers.
That
that was really cool. Okay, back to the game. I'm feeling the hype here, but I want to see what Cobra can do with Amaru. Thank you. That's all right. I want to see what most importantly I want to see is what SCARZ are looking to do with the Amaru, because there's only 1 or 2 reasons you bring an operator of that kind. Either it's to try and gain really quick access, which Cobra hasn't done, or it's to be able to utilize a hatch in some way, shape, or form, because there's not much else she has in her utility other than the G8, and even that, I mean, I think Revy would have had capacity to use it, but he's using the Commando instead, so I don't think that's really the reason. Oh, no.
Well, Afro is the reason Asferos 2 will no longer be part of this round. Gunning him down in pretty good time as well, the 140 mark when that one came through. Chloroform even collects a second with the smokes coming out, so for FAV, a good start to their defensive side. And Revy, I mentioned him a second ago, playing on the IQ. We referenced earlier on how it can be used for a bit of shot calling. There'll be no part of this round, that information no longer being passed across to the team. So a lot of work to do for Demic 11 and Colbro here, but with 11 and Demic on side, we've spoken so many times about the potential for multi-kills that these 2 players especially have. Let's not write them off just yet, but I'm always very mindful of that clock as we hit the final 60 seconds as to how much they can achieve.
I love watching 11 play on attack. He's always so powerful, whether he plays on the Ashe or he plays on the Zofia. And as I say that, almost cast a curse him. The man didn't even turn around. He said, Demic, you got this, bro. Yeah. And he says, I do. And well, now they've got a bit more of control over towards Red and landing, and Colbro is just parkouring the map with his grapple hook there. He hasn't really been able to do much, let's be frank, there with his particular operator. Maybe they thought they'd go another site. I don't know. But for the most part, with 25 seconds left, I feel like they've hit the same curse that FAV have, and it's time management.
They're going to give them a couple of rounds to move into it. They didn't get the Malusi. They missed. It falls slightly short. It looks like it must have gone into the table. Unfortunate.
Oh, no. Wow.
Well, that means the Malusi will be in place, but 11's still going to try and worm his way in. They don't know about Shin, I imagine. Has he got the Titan Killer in hand? He's ready. He's waiting. The FO12 was ready to blast away through these members. Surely he swings it. Now he does. But SCARZ, how on earth have they swung that? That was in the dying seconds, and it looked like everything. No way does he 180 that. Okay, not quite a 180, but he was aware that someone was behind him. I don't know if they were aware that he was there thanks to a drone, or if it was just intuition. Something says to me it's intuition. You know at this level, teams are going to try and peek you from multiple angles. But my God, as SCARZ just snatched victory away from the jaws of defeat. Well played by them in the close.
Who was on Ella then? Which FAV player was on Ella? Was it Typon?
I can get you the name. It was the middle one, so we'll see when we're in game. I expect it's Typon. No, because he's bottom left, isn't he? Whoever is third from top. That's how I cut my names.
Afro?
You'll find out in a second when we get in game. You don't know because the order changes. Shin.
Okay, Shin. Shin had an opportunity there to get what I would consider to be an easy 2K, especially at that range with that shotgun. Even hip fire would have been absolutely, that would have sufficed. And what he wanted to do was play time. What he misunderstood was by playing time, you gave SCARZ every bit they needed to just peek your other players across on the other side. Whether he thought they were going to stick the plan or not is irrelevant. What was relevant there was he had to make a decision about not laying down his life, but making an impact on the players who were so focused over on bar. I want to say it's a missed decision, but we always try and tell players not to be so aggressive, and he was trying that, and what a shame it didn't work for him, because that round should have rightfully been FAV. So SCARZ able to put a round on the board that they probably shouldn't have been able to put up. As we go into the 8th round, my predictions are looking very, very scary.
Welcome, Jess. Welcome to my domain, my home, my kingdom, where I feel most comfortable. Make yourself cozy. It only gets worse from here, trust me. Let's see how round number 8 plays out for the side of SCARZ. Their attack then, yes, did it come down to a bit of pot luck / well, great coordination under pressure in the dying moments? Absolutely. Bit of intuition weighing in as well. The FAV slightly unfortunate, I think, on the timing at which they peaked to take those gunfights to FO12 a little bit late to come swinging around the corner in the hands of the Ella to try and blast away. It's unfortunate, but those things do happen. Small moments of miscommunication. By the looks of it, there is an extended hold taking place down towards the south with Shin, of all people, holding down on the mirror, looking to cause a bit of trouble in towards Study, as that is the point that SCARZ have decided, hey, we want control of the south first to push our way north rather than trying to do a master take.
Well, looks like they'll make absolute easy work of this extended hold, which is expected because most of the utility will be focused on site. It's okay to lose some of your mirror, some of your reinforcements, some of your push, and some of your head if you're 11. Number 2 swinging out with the SMG 11, and well, for the most part here, they've been able to waste half of the round by just forcing them to have to come in through Study and clear everything. Now FAV are in a much more advantageous position, and even though there's Demic below doing his best to make everything explode, he hasn't hit his target.
There we go, a second one coming out, and as you say, this aggressive hold that came out working wonders for them. Coach Revy strikes big and brings down Shin, but traded out downstairs onto Demic by Chloroform, puts it into a 4 versus 2 pretty quickly, and no drones remaining, Jess. They've committed all their drones to clearing out the south side and have literally nothing left for the site. Nothing left in terms of players by the looks of it. Colbro, the last one to try and attempt a 1 versus 4 with 60 seconds to go. You know what? We know which way this round's going, so unless there is a miracle clutch that comes out, in which case I will very quickly steal it away from you, I'm going to let you share some of that big brain analysis you've got in your head, Jess.
Look, I think for FAV, they actually look a lot more confident on their defense here on Villa than they did on their attack, and that's an unusual thing to say about FAV. We constantly talk about how good and fresh and confident they look on attack. So here they're showing us that they can be at least confident on defense, which is nice. I'm going to call it an improvement because their defense has been lackluster, but it's a shame that that's come at the cost of their attack. So I don't want to see a team who's improving, but also not able to keep the same standard on their side that is usually of high standard. I think that's what's really hit FAV here. But the comeback will be in play here. Surely Colbro doesn't just hit 4 heads in a row. He can't even hit 1 by the looks of it. A bit of a whiff there, and they're going to run away with their life. But good round there from SCARZ. Or rather, FAV. I'm back to front. You know
You're
why?
back to front, you're upside down.
I'm blaming the sleep.
I had a feeling that with you being upside down, some things might start reversing at some point, but it's okay. You've been doing well in kind of doing the reverse of what you believe is normal, so I completely appreciate that.
Thank you.
To be fair, this game itself has been pretty back to front. We haven't expected to go this way so far, with SCARZ being the ones quite clearly in the lead. But I think the issue we're going to see here is Villa will start doing a typical Villa. We know what the defenses on this map are like. We know there is so much clearance to worry about. When you're attacking the south again, start towards the north. When you're attacking the north, you start towards the south. There's a lot to think about. And I think if FAV can keep on getting out in the map the way they did in that last round and being really aggressive on their defense, that is where you're going to see SCARZ, I think, start to become a little bit nervous. They can't find the opening kills they need. They lose the utility to actually even look at the site because it is all being expended off-site. That, I think, for me, is the winning key for FAV.
Oh. If we have a look at the statistics here, at least for FAV on their defensive side, dining and kitchen is their most successful site, especially against SCARZ. So I can understand that it's not their first bomb site that they go to, even though it is their most successful. What I'm a bit worried about is that SCARZ seem to have updated, improved, and revitalized the way in which they play. Their attacks haven't been too convincing to me, of course, but for the most part, they've got a 2-round buffer here. One more round, they're on match point. And that forces FAV to have to get 2 to 3 more rounds, sorry, not 2, 3 more rounds in a row to even get to overtime.
Okay,
otherwise,
Jess?
You know what? The sleep thing's hitting me hard, my man. I've had a second coffee. I'm sure it'll kick in another few minutes, but numbers are a hard thing at the moment. It's all right. We'll get there together.
I've got a coffee in my hand as well, and if I could see you, or there was a way to put this mug through a weird teleporter that came out right next to you with the mug in your hand, we would clink our mugs together, take a sip of coffee, and continue enjoying what has turned out to be a very entertaining game so far. As you can see, starting out in the south of SCARZ, once more it is going to be a south push. Now, for FAV to hold this far down, I think would be a risk, given that you then have to hold above site, you hold the extended hold as well to the south and on site. Villa is a big map. That's a little too much to cover. It's still not going to stop them getting the opening kill onto the sledge, which is so critical for this site. You're now looking at a lean towards the Zofia and the Ash to help you getting those vertical angles opened up. But without the sledge on side, that's going to be a dent. Not saying that ironically or coincidentally, giving it a sledge that died, but it's going to be a dent in their attack. Revy will find one back onto Shin, putting us up to 1 dead on either side. But I know which one I'd rather be dead in this instance, Jess. A sledge or a Jaeger? Not much thought required.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're losing one of your big hitters on your team, because, I mean, look at how Demic's impact has had. 11 and 5 kill differential there. And I think for SCARZ, they've lent on Demic a lot, especially in the first half. Demic was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And coming into this particular half, you want him to be able to have impact as well. Some good shots will pepper through, but they actually don't hit anyone. They hit back onto Typon instead. And now SCARZ, well, they've had a pretty good trade there, and you spoke about it before. Shin going down, that's not too bad because they're able to get the sledge, and 11 is able to get Afro there. That's a better pick. You get the smoke off the board, you get those plant denial operators out of there, and all of a sudden things are looking pretty sparkly here for SCARZ if they want to get match point.
I mean, so the SSD children. 60 seconds to go on SCARZ. Looking to pick up the pace a little bit now they know they have this very slight numbers advantage. Are looking directly at the site. The final 3 members of FAV all packed away towards Pantry in the northeast corner, just waiting for when the site entry does come in for SCARZ and hopefully holding the right angles to be able to contest this. And 11 is sweeping around. I'm surprised that we aren't seeing more drones coming running through the site here, to be honest. Especially when you have an Iana on side who can do a lot of those hard yards for you, but instead choosing to go mostly blind in. Finally going to get on that and start sending it down the Astro stairs. By the way, medics, I'll give a nod. That was a beautiful transition. I don't know if it was intended or not.
Oh my god.
But as that came onto the clone to then change operator, I was like, whoa, Ayana looks a lot like Zofia these days, and that looks a lot like death for the side of SCARZ. Chloroform take their opportunity. They strike. Chloroform, a double explosive kill, coming out into a spray down. Revy trades it back, and there are only 5 seconds to go. No diffuser in hand, and he is alone. Something tells me, buddy, you don't win this round, and there we go. The close will come in. A great hold coming out from FAV towards the end. Medic to Mayo just like, yes, let's pretend it was intended. It definitely looked it, and it looked cool as hell. I dig.
It did take me off guard there as well. I was like, hang on, did he just shape shift into the Zofia? I was like, oh, wow, that's an amazing ability. I've not seen that one before, but
so
that
good.
round should have favored SCARZ there. I said when they picked up the smoke as well and they'd already traded Shin on the Jaeger, that was a really favorable round. And when you can't convert favorable situations into a round win, it's a little bit worrisome. I know that SCARZ have had some problems on attack, especially since Canos had to be replaced. He was their big hitting Ash, and 11 was their mainstay Zofia. So now that everyone's had to change a couple of roles, a couple of those really important operators, you know, Zofia's almost just an absolute must pick for attackers. I think they've really seen a little bit of a crack in their confidence. And I actually think Revi's doing a smashing job, you know, not relying on shields, not relying on being that full support. Cobra is more taking that role now, and it's letting Revi shine a bit, but they still need a bit of time to synergize, work things out. And like we say about Team Vitality in EUL, for example, given time, people shine.
I mean, look at Fabian yesterday. He was saying, you know, just look how Fabian. Look how much time it took them to get to the stage where they're now looking like a genuinely scary team. A team that everyone I've spoken to in Europe said, you know, in scrims they look terrifying. They look like a really good team. They could be one of the best. And then stage 2 came around. They were saying they still look really good, but we're not sure why the results aren't coming. Now they've started arriving, and it might just be the same thing with SCARZ. Give it a bit of time, build up that communication, build up the synergy, because the difference between being a coach and a player, I'm sure, as you know, will be absolutely massive. There is still time to work with here for them. As said, you are in 12th place. It is going to be one hell of a scrap to retain your spot. Good luck is the best words I can give to them without going too deep into that. What I will give a slight lean towards again in that last round was, despite being in a 4 versus 3, SCARZ didn't take that moment to get on drones, have a pause, and go and find out where the players of FAV were. So that C4 was all too easy for Chloroform. Drones may well have prevented that being a thing that happened. Unfortunate that it didn't come out.
Last time FAV pushed up onto these stairs, they were hyper successful, and now SCARZ are looking to replicate that same thing. A smoke on the stairs, and usually you see a mute here because you don't really want to put one of your really important support operators in a really precarious position such as that, but a lot of people do happen to play smoke and use those smoke babes to bait, or not bait, to be able to suppress people pushing up the stairs, so they actually don't get used for player denial, they get used for the stair denial. And I want to see if that works out for them now, and he'll just lay there for a little bit longer, and now SCARZ's opportunity is now get those grenades tossed in, get rid of that Banshee, displace the smoke. Can they get him? They need to get him now.
Super now-ish. Looking down at that clock is always what makes me the most nervous. 90 seconds remain. What are we about to get excited about?
No, not excited, disappointed. Use your drones, boys. He already went back in his side. He went to Paris. He went to Disneyland. He put up a reinforcement, and he's already back inside. What was that? Who was holding the rotate out? The man got away for free.
It's free, dude. It's absolutely free. As they say. 8 drones still remain for SCARZ, though, and I do follow the question of where were those drones? Equally, where are they now at the time when you're in a position, you've got control of the stairs, you're looking in towards study? Surely there is the question of, right, where are these players? Where are the C4s? Where are those things that bit us in the backside last time it came round to our actual execute? The answer apparently is not really in use, and I say that. They do finally get onto 1. But it's time. I keep saying the clock is their worst enemy. It very often is for the attackers, especially those who are a little bit slow when it comes to executions. 35 seconds remain, and it is still a 5 versus 5. There is so much scope for things to go wrong here, unless SCARZ can pick themselves up quickly.
They're hoping they can get this wall opened on up, and Demic's had a smashing game, so he'll kick off those opening kills onto Afro, and well, now they've got some lines of sight here, but I think, Des, this is not looking good for them. No real access, no real ability to get in. Yikes.
And Revi finds it as well. Did he even get him down there? No, he didn't. I think it was Colbro who stole the kill at the bitter end of it, but number 2 will come out with his own, and my God, they are hugging this wall like no man's business. The amount of shock damage in this round is crazy. Not that it matters all that much. FAV will win, and I mentioned the timing there. They left things a little bit late, and admittedly 2 quick kills coming out of number 2 really helped things along. SCARZ, I've got a question, my boys. Where's that pace?
This is looking really, really favorable for FAV. Pun not intended there. FAV favorable. I mean, I'm sure they want all of that going their way, but you imagine just bringing this back. SCARZ, they were up 2 rounds. We said they had those 2 rounds buffer to make mistakes. Well, mistakes they've made, and guess what? The buffer is completely gone. It's vanished, and now the Japanese powerhouses of FAV are going, we've got you in our sights. They'll move over to Trophy. They've got the mirror to play with. I've been impressed with SCARZ's ability to displace it, but I think for the most part, you've got to be so much faster. And when was Chloroform, was it? It was on the smoke, who was playing South Stairs. How on earth was he allowed to crouch walk away, and then they wasted 3 more flashes on him. They tried to waste a grenade on him, and he wasn't even there. As I said, he took a trip to Paris and went to Disneyland, and that entire time they were throwing grenades and flashes at no one. That's where a drone is vital, and I think that's the biggest weakness here of SCARZ, is that they're not using their drones. A lot are dying in their pocket alongside them, and that's something we have to be critical about, because if you don't know what you're going up against, no wonder you're just wildly throwing things.
I get the feeling you really want to go to Disneyland Paris, Jess.
Well, when I moved there, in however many months, I've been told I must go. I'm not a huge ride fan, but I've been told I went to Tokyo Disneyland. Look, not particularly, but it's a fun time when I go, you know, when I go in Tokyo, I enjoy it, so.
Yeah, I'm not a massive Disney fan. And then I went there and realized, actually, I am a Disney fan. It's incredible. You'll love it, trust me.
Oh, no. 2 minutes 30. FAV's opportunity here. Yeah, I know. I got to do more segues. I'm tired. Today, you can't give me ratings.
I set you up with a Disneyland into this kind of reference here. Like, there was a real good, like, ride-related segue there that was an option, and you just completely disregarded it.
This is FAV's opportunity to skyrocket themselves, roller coaster their way into match point now. And if they do that, well, it puts SCARZ in a very precarious situation. You're losing 3 rounds in a row to a team that, quite frankly, you look like you might have beaten mere rounds ago.
Not bad. Skyrocket thing I didn't really get. It took a bit long to get to the ride reference.
You haven't been on that?
I'll give you a 5 out of 10 for that. Nah, I don't think. No, I don't know. I would have rather it have been a real nice brief segue, something along the lines of, well, speaking of roller coasters, back into this game. It's currently set at 5 and 5. FAV and SCARZ very close together. Still 1 minute and 40 to play. So we are again going to be keeping a very close eye on the clock. About 1 minute and 30 remaining. SCARZ, I keep on touching on the drone work. I keep on touching on the timing. They've got enough drones. They've got enough time. It's how well they now want to utilize it and see if they can bring this up to potentially forcing us into an overtime, or better yet, into a victory, if they can, of course, take the next 2 rounds. That's the kind of step we had gone for.
Skyrocket is a roller coaster. It's the name of a roller coaster. Whatever. I don't expect you to know these things. It's fine.
No, I don't know that thing. You're correct.
That's fine. That's okay.
And neither do all the audience. You've got to keep it nice and simple for them, Jess. Not that they're simple people.
You're simple
there are many
enough.
Big brain roller
they don't need more than that. So... This is potentially a match point setter here for one of these teams. So let's bring you back into the mix here. Still 5v5 and less than a minute left for them. But they do manage to get this wall open. There's a mirror window which will block them off, and one smoke babe already expelled. But for Chloroform, the power position is his position there. Afro's also got a power position, but this looks to be a pretty one-dimensional push. And as I say that, well, it's looking like Astro Stairs is yet another focus for the attackers.
A big push up, and they at least trade 1 for 1, kind of. There we go. It's finally collected up by an Nosferatu. 4 versus 4, 20 seconds to play. Man, where have we been before with this one, Jess? Where's that C4 out of number 2? Anytime now, I'm expecting a double kill to come singing through. I swear to God, if that happened, as I said that, I would have actually cried. Shing gets a kill onto Rebby, though. 4 versus 3. No time left alive, and even with the smokes coming down, it feels like the control is entirely on the side of FAVs. Double C4s do come out, but none connect onto their target, because Colbro has done a right bait. He's sat inside the smoke going for a plant. They're going to have to spray through. They do find him, but he's not down and dead. Finally gets taken out, and then the second one comes out for number 2. They were so close. It was such a good play, but FAV are going to put that dream to bed. SCARZ find themselves now going down to the stage where they cannot at least win in the next round, but they can force the overtime.
Leaving it to the last 5 seconds is doom and gloom, especially if you don't have those post-plan positions that were needed. The spray through the smoke, quite frankly, should have downed the diffuser planter, but it was a little bit too much of a swing from the Jaeger there to really capitalize on those shots. I actually thought that they'd been able to down them as they were finishing off the plant, but nonetheless, they'll still be able to get the retake happening. And I think time has been the biggest enemy, or if you're on the side of the defenders, it's your best teammate. Especially here against SCARZ. I mean, who needs to focus on, I don't know, plant denial, or not even plant denial, meeting them at the door when they do that themselves? They stall themselves out there. They don't drone anything. They don't, and if they do it, it's very shallow droning. There's no real depth to their intel collection here on attack, whereas on defense, I actually think they're quite good at that. So it's a bit of an interesting stark comparison between their SCARZ defense and how they use utility to SCARZ attack and how they don't use utility. I think they're close. I think that's a good thing, is that we can say that SCARZ are close to perfecting how Intel really dictates their teammates or their team play. They've just got to transfer that over to their attack as well now.
I've got to give a nod, and I always do. I've been a shill of this guy since the start of Stage 1. Number 2 coming into FAV last season really didn't play well. Prior to joining them in Pro League Season 11 in the Japanese Pro League, he was the top-ranked player. On Takumi Festival, he had the highest KD, the highest entry, the highest everything out of anyone in the whole competition, despite quite literally single-handedly carrying Takumi Festival. And I think FAV picked him up in good faith, thinking he could become a great player. We've seen what he can do. We know that he's a beast in support. Let's bring him in. Let's really hit this season hard and bring him in. And he had a really poor season, but in the 5 previous games that they have had, number 2 has been top rated in 4 of those games. The only one that he wasn't was their defeat against Giants. And I think in that game, maybe it was him trying to really make a mark and impact the game and just falling short because Giants are such a well-coordinated team. But I will always stand a player that shows such incredible performance between the 2 stages. And I really can't wait to see what he can do when it comes around to the major this time around.
Match point here for FAV Gaming. And for SCARZ, well, a potential loss, which is absolutely not where you want to be. And I think Demic is feeling the pressure here. He's had a really, really good game. We have to shout out to him for absolutely laying down his life in multiple rounds, especially on the defense, was really hitting hard. Oh, and double easy. C4s below. Is it triple? Let me see. What do we got? We got number 2. We got Typon and... Okay, triple C4s below. Number 2 had already used his. Malusi hasn't been able to use hers just yet. And of course, Chloroform. Well, we've spoken about his C4s as well, and they've been hyper effective. But for now, you lost Nosferatu, and that's a big hit onto SCARZ. They needed this point to propel them into the overtime. I don't think they'll get there if this keeps looking this way.
Such a shame too, because they look so good at getting that first half of 4 rounds back-to-back for the side of FAV, and that is showing no signs of slowing down. It must be heartbreaking knowing that this could have been the game that starts some form of comeback or at least some retribution for the boys. Either way, I would not be embarrassed by today's performance. They have looked good, but FAV reminding everyone why they've been looking like one of the best this whole season as the second C4 comes through. It's like playing clay pigeon shooting here. It's just like pull, bang, someone's dead somewhere on the map. Really well played by FAV. Solid defenses coming out here with almost not so much flawless, but very solid across the last few, even closing things out in a flawless round, a well-deserved victory. But I'm sure SCARZ will be kicking themselves a little bit.
Well, in APAC, we attack, and if you're FAV or SCARZ, we defend. That's exactly how this match went down. And for FAV, oh, without that comeback in the second half there, things were looking absolute dire as my predictions have been for the past 2 days. But whew, thank goodness I put FAV down on my form today. And number 2 with 14 kills. You hype him for a reason, you shill him for a reason, and I respect you for that because he's a great player.
I shall not stop doing that anytime soon either. What a step up from them, and you can see how he has been a huge part of this massive advancement by the side of FAV. Things are looking good. Question is it going to be enough to keep on working towards those top spots, because there are going to be teams waiting here in APAC for them and teams at the major when that one rolls around. Let's jump over to the desk and get their thoughts on what has been a very close fixture for SCARZ, but just not quite enough. You can throw now.